I'm going to ask, why in the world did y'all let her do that?
Mayoral debate. My name is Alyssa. I'm going to be moderator tonight. We have the two candidates, Dale Ayers and Kurt Maddox, with us tonight. The way that this is going to be set up is I've divided this into 3 questioning sections. The first section is get to know the candidate. This is basically a section where we can see a little bit about the candidates and who they are. Section 2 is frequently asked and important questions. For this section, I went around and asked the people what they would want to hear and their concerns. From there, I've taken questions and made them so that they can be asked. Within section 3, this is going to be community concerns. This one's going to work a little bit differently than the other 2 because you guys have the ability to ask questions of the candidates. If time allows, and the question has not already been answered, it will be asked within this section, and you can direct it at a candidate or you can make it for both candidates. With that being said, I'd like to make everyone aware that each section has time constraints. Section 1 has 7 minutes for each candidate to answer. Section 2 has 14 minutes for each candidate to answer. And Section 3 will have whatever's left. With that being said, let's move into it. So first, I would like to start with question 1 from Section 1. Dale Ayers. Oh yeah, I'm going to be alternating between the candidates so that there's not like an actual debate going on because this is more like a forum, more like question answering. I didn't want to have actual tension. So, question 1, Dale Ayers, where are you from?
Good evening, and thank you for coming. My name is Dale Ayers. I was born in Sodus, New York, into a military family. I arrived here after I went to the service in 1972 to 75, moved to Hiawassee and built a home in 1977, log house in Hiawassee. Then I met my lovely bride, 1979. We've been married 39 years, and we have 3 children, 9 grandchildren, and I serve on the Maysville Fire Department. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
And now, Kurt Maddox, where are you from?
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. It's a great pleasure to be able to, 1, be your mayor, and 2, be able to go in this process that we do each and every term when it comes around. But I'm originally born in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, in the southeast corner, but raised here in northwest Arkansas almost my entire life. Both of my parents taught here at Gravette High School, and of course it wasn't here at the time, it was over there, but my mom was a music teacher and my dad was a high school counselor, and I've been living in northwest Arkansas, except for that stint, my entire life.
Thank you. All right, so on to question 2 of section 1. Maddox, this one's for you. What is your job?
My job is I'm the mayor here at Gravette, Arkansas. I started as a city council member in 2007, elected then, and then again in 2009, and then in 2014 was elected as mayor and have been serving since January 1st of 2015. Thank you.
All right, and Dale, the same question for you.
I'm retired from 32 years with almost 33 years with Walmart. I've been on the Airport Planning Commission in Bentonville, and I'm just currently in a retired status, running for mayor of this great city.
Thank you. All right, Dale, this goes to you as well. Question 3, have you ever ran for office before? Have you ever ran for office before?
No, I have never ran for a mayor position. The position I held in Bentonville, Arkansas was an appointed position on the Airport Planning Commission, which I did make the president. Thank you.
Thank you. And Maddox, the same for you?
Yes, I've ran for, of course, a city council member, which I told you about. I've also ran for U.S. Congress and then for mayor.
Thank you. Maddox, question 4 is, what inspired you to become a candidate?
What inspired me, of course, was originally, whenever I ran for council, I just wanted to make a difference in our city. And then when I ran for mayor, really was the same thing. I saw what I thought could be changed in the city, from adding sidewalks to revitalizing Main Street. And I really felt there was a need for that, and so I ran at that point. And that's kind of what drove me to run.
All right, thank you. Dale, what inspired you to become a candidate?
So with my 32 years experience, almost 33 with Walmart under planning and budgeting, I see the need for this town especially. I lived in Bentonville when the boom hit there. Everybody was behind. I feel like we're kind of in the same position here. We'll develop a master plan, and we can implement that plan and budget towards that as well.
Thank you. Dale, how would you describe yourself?
I'm a Christian man. I've been married to my wife 39 years. I'm a father, a husband. I'm very loyal. I think my track record shows that. I did my time in the service as I said I would. I also have done, like I said, 39 years with my wife. I did almost 33 years with Walmart. So I am dedicated and ready and willing to work for y'all.
Thank you. Maddox, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself first as a man of faith, family, and then city in that order. And I would say I'm very passionate about seeing our city grow and seeing it move forward. And when I first came into office 4 years ago, that was what we set out to do, was to set a city that was safe, a city that was sustainable, and a city that was a service-oriented city. And we've been working towards that the last 4 years.
Thank you. Also, Maddox, what do you enjoy doing?
Well, I absolutely love what I'm doing now. I didn't know what it would be like when I came into office, but I absolutely love being your mayor. And I've enjoyed it from day one until all the way to today, and I still enjoy it today. It's something new every day, and I'm not one to just sit down and be bored. And so the excitement of change and the way new stuff hits you every day as you come in, I really enjoy that.
Thank you. Dale, what are your biggest accomplishments?
Actually, being a parent and being saved is probably my two biggest accomplishments. What followed that was a strong career with a large corporation, Walmart. Whenever I get elected or appointed or actually serve in a position, I give everything my all. I give my family my all, my grandchildren. I'm very strong in the budgeting, the planning, and that's what I plan to do for y'all, is give it my all.
Thank you. Maddox, what are your biggest accomplishments?
My biggest accomplishment, of course, is talking my wife into marrying me, as you guys can tell. I married up a little bit there. And second, I would say, what we've accomplished in the last 4 years in the city. When I first came into office, a lot of people said, there's no way you can rejuvenate Main Street. There's no way you can get over 10,000 linear feet of sidewalks done, plus get sewer done, water lines, and plus be able to add money into your budget each year. And we've been able to do all of that.
Thank you. So now we are going to be moving into section 2. These are frequently asked and important questions. Each candidate will be allotted 14 minutes to answer questions, and they can use their time at their discretion. Question 1 is for Maddox. Given mayors can set their own salary, which is funded by the taxpayers, what do you intend to set your salary as?
The salary is, of course, already set by the council, and the starting salary for the mayor's position is $50,000 a year, and then it gets the normal raises that any citizen or any employee of the city would get, but that is set by the council.
Okay. I guess since that question was answered and I was misinformed, we will skip that question. Sorry about that. Dale, this one is for you. What do you feel Gravette is lacking and what can be done for these issues? What do you feel Gravette is lacking and what can be done for these issues?
So my thought is on the Gravette side is strong leadership. What I see in our future is growth. And with that growth is going to take strong leadership, but it's going to take excellent planning and excellent budgeting to get us there. And how we'll do that is we'll develop a comprehensive master plan for what you all would like the city to look like and city to feel like. From that, we can implement any change that comes our way.
Thank you. And Maddox, the same for you?
A lot of people would say my leadership is too strong, so it's nice to know that my opponent doesn't think my leadership is too strong. But moving forward, it would be great to, what was the question again?
What do you feel Gravette is lacking and what can be done for these issues?
Okay. One of the most pressing issues facing Gravette. Well, right now, of course, we have a comprehensive plan. It was done in 2014, and it's going to be renewed in 2019 on our comprehensive plan. What we need to move into, as I feel, the next thing in the city is we need to move in to getting a new disaster plan. We have a disaster plan that is done by the county, but it's not geared towards our citizens in our city. So we actually have a task force that's now working on that. That should be done in February of 2019. That's one of our biggest moves. And then we're also working on how do you get sewer infrastructure outside of Gravette. And there's a lot of, oh, I'm over my time. Am I over my time? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now moving back to Maddox. How will you foster economic growth in our town?
What a city cannot do is it cannot create jobs in businesses, but what it can do is it can create the atmosphere for a business to thrive. And I believe that's exactly what we've done in the last 4 years by making sure our Main Street looks great, by making sure the city has the proper finances in the bank account, and by making sure that when someone drives in town, that they see a town that is thriving and that is moving, that our parks are in good shape, that our buildings are in good shape, that our sidewalks are in good shape, and that brings people in, which then brings businesses in.
Thank you. And Dale, the same for you?
So I do take exception to some of that. In order to have a great plan, we have to have larger businesses. We have to attract them. And the way we do that is through some kind of incentive programs, stuff that the city here will offer up to attract those larger businesses. We need to get more people into town to where it can open up our downtown. I've watched the revenue streams. I haven't seen a lot of revenue come from anything that's completed as of yet. Small work on the sidewalk systems and not a lot of downtown traffic yet, so that's what I would suggest.
Thank you. And back to Dale. What will be done to expand our infrastructure? What will be done to expand our infrastructure?
So on the planning of our infrastructure, I think is very important. We have an aging water system, aging sewer system, and we have to create those items there. We've heard that we can't service people even within our town, yet our system is only operating at about a third of its capacity. So we need to make sure that all of our infrastructure is in place and ready to accept the larger businesses.
Thank you. Maddox, the same for you?
Our infrastructure, as far as our aging sewer system, we don't have an aging sewer system anymore. As you guys remember, back in 2013, the voters had voted to redo the entire sewer system, and almost $4 million was spent redoing that, replacing everything and making our sewer system pretty much brand new again. So we don't have an issue in that area. We still have some aging lines in the ground, which we have already replaced several thousand linear feet of sewer and water lines in the last 4 years. We hope to keep doing that so that our sewer system keeps growing in that direction. But as far as having an old, out of date, we have a lot of capacity in our sewer system, and it has been completely updated in the last 7-8 years.
Thank you. And again, Maddox, what can be done about our lack of a drainage system in some areas of town?
We've actually already talked to an engineering company out of Bentonville, and they are working on some new drainage plans for us. The biggest area is the area from 4th and Charlotte that cuts over to 2nd Southwest and then out that way. We have about 55 acres that all come right by Kinley Park and then down that direction. So we're working on that now. They're working on some plans. We're also working with the new company that we just found out, O'Reilly Automotive, who has just filled out the application to come into our city. We're working with them because they bought the property just north of Arvest, and they're going to be putting a brand new, beautiful building there, and we're also working with them on how they can help with the drainage issues through there also.
Thank you. Dale, what would you do about the lack of a drainage system in some areas of town?
So as we all know, we have huge drainage viaducts going down through past Arvest and there. That's not a secret. Everybody's probably either gotten close to running off into that or has at least seen somebody that's run into that ditch area. So that is, I believe, an area that we can all look at and assist. Like to see that, more work done on that, quite possibly some kind of ducts going through there to where we can cover up some of that and take away some of our areas of concern for our citizens.
Thank you. And still on Dale. Question 6. Given many people complain about their outrageous water bills, what is causing this and what can be done?
That's a great point. So here's what we need to look at on the water. Number one, we need to get it, the billing corrected and make sure that it's consistent. We know that our current water bills are attached to some two of the older bonds. So there is a little work that we can do in there, but they are attached. Our bond payback goes to straight from that area there. But I do believe that we can look at quite possibly bringing on the pumps that we have currently that's in the ground. Not sure. We just have to get a study group together and see what we could do with that to reduce the utility bills.
All right, thank you. And Maddox, the same for you?
The large tower, water tower you see over here, that was done back, I believe, in around 2007, and that is one of the bonds that pays for. Those water rates are actually set by the company that we borrow from, which I believe was ANRC at the time. And so we don't really have any control on lowering them until those are paid off. As far as anything else with water bills, we just installed a brand new program that makes it very easy for the customers in town to be able to pay online, to be able to get reminders of their bills, and it also is a very exact measure of what comes through from the system now. And what we had before was just a very antiquated system that just didn't work real well. And we had a little bit of bumps back in June and July setting this new one up. But I believe now that it's finally set up and running, all we've heard is compliments in the last month about this new system that's running.
Thank you. And Maddox, again, what are your future plans for Gravette?
Future plans for Gravette, of course, as I said, I would love to get another 10,000 plus linear feet of sidewalks replaced. The sidewalks had gone so long in disarray that we have a lot of area to get done. Again, I think we need to try to get sewer on out to Stagecoach area and water also, as that is a future growth area for the city. And of course, our disaster plan that I talked about. And then I want to start putting every single thing, and we started it a little bit this year, but what happened when I came into office was we didn't have anything online. Nothing was scanned in, no paperwork. You had to go from one building to the other, and lots of it got lost. So over the last several months, we just started a new program called Box, and we have started scanning every single document the city has so that it's preserved for future generations. And I hope to get all of that done, hopefully by the middle to end of next year, so that every single document in the city is scanned, and then every single document from then on is scanned and saved.
Thank you. Dale, the same to you.
So the future Gravette, what's it look like? So larger businesses at the gateway of Gravette. We know that's going to help our increase our count here inside the city limits, get more traffic down through the downtown area. I also would like to think of in the growth and what the city will look like is taking those documents. Transparency is what we need. We need transparency in all of our financials. We need transparency in our planning. So everybody here has a voice and knows what we're going to do. We can set the tone by how y'all would like for everything to look. The planning, what's the city look like? What does our financial budgeting look like? That's what I'd like. Transparency and planning.
Thank you. All right, so seeing as section 2 has been completed, we will now move into section 3, community concerns. This is the section where you guys get to ask the questions. So if you have any questions that you would like to submit, please have them completed and in the back by the end of both of the responses to this first question. All right, section 3, question 1. What action do you believe the city of, I did not address a candidate, given an order. Dale, this is to you. What action do you believe the city of Gravette should take in regards of the water rights in rural parts of the city, in particular the community of Hiawassee?
So if we're referring to if we're referring to the altercation that got in with the city of Centerton, of course I wouldn't have went that route. I like dealing and working with everybody and anybody on a situation. I know that we can come to a resolution without going into suing another city. And so that's what I would do right now. Just look at, right now, Hiawassee has the cheaper rates that we have in Gravette at this time. So I would look into what we need to do further, but I would do nothing now.
Thank you. Maddox, the same for you.
Yeah, I talked to Centerton about a week ago, and I think their rates are exactly the same as ours. The difference in Hiawassee is there's no sewer out there, so they don't pay any sewer. They just pay water rates, which should make their bill a little bit cheaper. But as far as the right of the sewer rights in the Hiawassee area, what we have over there is we have a system that is old and has very small lines. And so it affects our future ISO rating in our city. It also affects businesses coming in. If, let's say, for example, a business wanted to move into the bypass and Centerton decided they didn't want to upgrade from a 4-inch line, which wouldn't carry this business to a 6-inch line, we would then as a city lose that future revenue and business. So we originally talked to them. They said they were not willing to sell to Gravette, but would sell to Bella Vista. So whenever they said that, we said, well, why won't you sell to us, but you will sell to Bella Vista? They wouldn't give us a good answer and went ahead and moved forward with selling to Bella Vista. And once they did that, that's when we decided we needed to stop that sale of a large portion from the corner of 72 and 279 on into Bella Vista, so that the city and the citizens will be protected from Bella Vista encroaching back over this direction.
All right. As of right now, that is the only question that I have, but I can see my question betters are convening. So at this time, I guess I'll thank the volunteers. So if you have volunteered or you have helped set up this event, of course, you can't see Miss Morgan, but she's back there and she has been wonderful. Please stand if you've helped with this event or have volunteered tonight. Just a big thank you to everyone who has volunteered tonight and helped with this event, because you guys made this possible. Also, a big thank you to the candidates for participating, because without candidate participation, we would not be able to maintain any amount of transparency within our local governments. And I hope everyone's having a great day. All right, I think we have some questions. All right, so as I've stated before, questions can be directed at either candidate. So there are some that are specific to Kurt, there are some that are specific to Dale, and there are some that are non-specific and are open for both candidates to answer to. So I'm just going to be drawing one from each pile in that order. Kurt, let's start with you. This question pertains to finance. How did you personally increase the reserve by 400%?
The reserve, of course, the reserve isn't personally increased by anybody, but it does have a lot to do with the administration and how we set our budgets and how we don't overspend. And as we have some department heads here, and they know that I'm a big advocate of not wasting money. And so when I come into office, our reserves are sitting at $129,000, and as of today, I believe we're just over $800,000 in our general fund reserve account. And we've also made the city extremely more transparent than it was when I came into office. We immediately went to work on uploading every single ordinance, every single resolution, and every single budget online so that people could peruse them at any time they wanted to. We also did something that had never been done before, and actually put every single agenda online before any meeting came up. It used to just be sent to the paper only when I first came on council. And then another thing we did was we started a Facebook page that the city had never had before. And most cities average about 20% of their city population on their Facebook page, and we are currently at 85% of our population on our Facebook page. So a lot of our information that we get out to the citizens is from our Facebook page. And then another issue on larger businesses and incentives. There's very few incentives that the state of Arkansas legally allow us to do as a city, besides waiving building permits or something like that, which when Walmart left, we immediately went out and started knocking on doors and making phone calls. And nothing brings businesses in like being able to do that. And we called Harps, and we called CVs, and we invited them to our city, and we explained to them how great the city was and how terrible it was for our citizens that we had lost Walmart. And we expected to get one, we ended up getting both of them. And we did the same thing with the New Station Cafe. We saw a building that was empty. We knew that they were just leaving downtown Bentonville. And so we made a phone call and we said, hey, would you be interested in coming to Gravette? And they said, sure. And they went and tried it. And now that we are their second location to Gravette also. Thank you.
Thank you. This question is directed at Dale. What is not transparent at this time?
So when we do look at transparency, we just have to look at all the documents. A 400% increase sounds really good. The answer was probably, it's tied to a quarter cent that I can't impact, nobody else can impact. If we have a business that does a really good sales, that's where where we're going to get our headwind from those. Transparency, I don't see the transparency in all the documentations right now as far as what we see on our financials. There's about 69 to 74 pages of financials. If anybody can dig through that in an hour's time, I'd like to see, because I mean, that's Einstein stuff there, but I'm just saying that everything that we do does make a difference on what the city council does. If we're off by any amount, then they're off as well. So that's where we need to get it. Planning, I don't see a master plan. I don't see any transparency today in the financials either.
Thank you. Now this is to each of the candidates, so I'll just go right back with Dale. What are your plans to preserve the history of Gravette and to ensure that the growth will not alter the hometown feel? The question was, what are your plans to preserve the history of Gravette and to ensure that growth will not alter the hometown feel?
This is a great question. We know that we have the museums, we have the Kenley Park. We need to keep on preserving that. As I've seen that we're doing today, we have the museum, that's good. We need to still keep talking about and teaching all of our history that we have here in Gravette. So I would like to continue to fund the museum area and continue teaching about this great community as well as a Hiawassee community. Thank you.
All right, this thing goes to you, Alex. If you need me to reread the question, I will. Okay, so the question is, what are your plans to preserve the history of Gravette and to ensure that the growth will not alter the hometown feel?
My plans to preserve the history are the same as I've been doing for the last 4 years, and that is when I came into office, we decided to work with infrastructure and quality of life issues for preservation. And that preservation is part of fixing the sidewalks, getting Main Street done. We just signed a contract for the old home ec building to preserve that. They just actually started work today on the old home ec building, so that'll be preserved. We also preserved the Hiawassee Community Building, redid that, which just looks incredible if you haven't been there. We'd love to go. If the town only does underground infrastructure only and never takes care of and preserve what it has, that town will die because people will come in and they won't see what you're actually doing and that you're taking care of what you actually have. So by combining both, we've been able to move forward and do the infrastructure, but also at the same time preserve what we have.
Thank you. This one is also for you, specifically, Mr. Maddox. Why do we have so many unfinished projects from around town?
Because we just have a lot of projects going around town. Thanks to you, the voters, we were able to put before you almost 3 years ago several projects that needed to be done, and we're in the middle of doing those. The ones that are finished, of course, is Main Street. 59 highway sidewalk is done. The sidewalk from the senior housing out to the hospital is done. The Civic Center is now complete. The Hiawassee Community Building is complete. The Hiawassee Park is complete. The Hiawassee bathrooms are complete. Old Town Park is also finished now. Kenley Park, what a lot of you may not know is that the airplane there hadn't been touched in over a decade and a half. And so we were able to, one, get some insurance funds to help, and two, use some city funds. And then we've now contracted with the guy who did it, where he comes back every year and preserves that airplane for us, which is by federal contract we signed that we would do that. So that's a few projects. Ongoing projects we have, which I'm over my time, but just the sidewalk and the new ones we're starting.
Thank you. This one is specifically for Dale. What would you have done in the past 4 years? What would you have done in the past 4 years?
So that's great, great questions. So when we look at everything, and I get the mayorship started in 2014 on this current one and goes to today. 2014, y'all would have seen some progress on the sidewalks as we see started here just a few months ago. I would continue to show y'all progress throughout my whole tenure and not just started about a year and a half or so, almost 18 months ago. I would have gave you a good steady progress and a progress report. You would also see planning. Like I said, we have to have the planning in place to know where we're all headed. That's what I do. If you planned a vacation, ever planned a vacation in your life, you know that you have to plan to get there, you have to plan to get back, and you have to plan the money that it takes to get you there. That's what I would do.
All right, thank you. In alternating order, this one goes to Maddox. This one is for both candidates, to be specific, but we start on Maddox. Why are we in debt that will take us until 2043 to pay off? And then there's a follow-up. It's what is this massive debt for?
First, let me answer what you just said, which is the sidewalks. We actually did the sidewalk from 59 Highway, which goes from where CB's is at now, all the way down to Harps in 2015. That was the first sidewalk we did. That was before a bond or anything. And we also did the sidewalk out for the senior housing. And then the reason it took so long to get the trail started, we wanted to start it a year ago, but we had a $500,000 grant from the state. And you have to go through a very long process with the state. And you have to do a 30% plan. Then you have to do a 60% plan. And you have to do a 90% plan. We set it 90% for several months, to the point where I finally called our representative, Tim Hendren, and asked him to get on the phone, and then we got it approved and got it started. But the good point of that is $581,000 of a little over $700,000 1.4 mile sidewalk is going to be paid for through grants.
Thank you. Dale, do you know why we are in debt that will take us until 2043 to pay off?
I can tell you that if you want me to.
I mean, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you.
Yeah.
First of all, the one debt is what is done by the water department. That's where your tower here and water west. That's getting water from Gravette to the Oklahoma border and then all the way up around Sulphur and down Strawberry Ridge and that. That's what one of the debt's for. And the other one is the water tower back over here off Detroit. Those two are paid for through water, monies that come in, and they've been on the books way before I ever came into office. The other one, which is the bond that the voters passed, which is getting done, all this stuff we're getting done now, from the sewer lines on Birmingham to El Paso to the sidewalks, all of that is paid for directly out of this. So had the voters not have voted to extend that, there would be no more money coming in. It's not like we get extra money if we don't have this bond. That money can only go towards that bond. In fact, it's doing so well that the bond company just pulled almost $500,000 out of that to pay down on the bond that we just took. So it's really going good. I believe it will be paid off in record time, and our bond attorney and Cruz Associates, who's the one who sold our bond, they just explained that too, and we just took the last part of it last month. They said it's right now on record to be paid off at least 10 years early, but probably even faster than that at the rate we're going.
Thank you. And Dale, same question for you. If you need me to repeat it, I can. Why are we in debt that will take us until 2043 to pay off? And what is this massive debt for?
So, yes, great question. Okay, so That is our bond monies that the voters did vote on, $6.25 million worth. The bond company did come down here. They did represent, and they did say that 2043, based on if we made our the income that they had placed the actual bond on up to that point. So, like Kurt said, we may be doing a little better than we are, but they said that our income that we showed was so very hard to track that they were going to set us in at the lower amount, which the last one was reduced just by a little bit. So that's why we're going to be till 2043.
Thank you. This one is directed at Kurt Maddox. Do you feel that your responses to people on Facebook are appropriate for our mayor to be making?
I guess you're talking about the responses. It's political season. I had someone call me and they said, "What's this terrible response you made? I keep hearing that you're being snarky." And I said, the only response I made was that it's political season before I answered a question from one of my opponent's supporters. And, if that's being snarky, yes, it is political season, and I apologize for that if I offended anybody.
Thank you. This one is directed at candidate Ayers. Have you ever ran for a position in the city government, and have you ever been defeated? If so. If you had ever been defeated, if you had ran.
No, the answer to that is no. I have never ran, as I stated at first. I was part of the commission that was appointed on the airport commission. We did grants, getting the ALS system, which is an advanced lighting system for aircraft to come in. That was one of the first in the county at that time. So I have not ran for a public office. This will be my first try, my first attempt, and I just keep on trying and be as honest and open as I can. Thank you.
All right, this one will go right back to you in alternating order, but it is for both candidates. How would you handle the issues related to the city and the school? This one starts with you. How would you handle the issues relating to the city and the school?
So that is one thing I think that I can bring a lot of value to. I'm used to dealing with multiple areas throughout my tenure in Walmart. I believe that, again, we can work with the school board and the school administration, as well as the Chamber of Commerce, our outlying cities, and come to resolutions before we have to get into any kind of conflicts.
Thank you. And for Maddox, the same for you?
As far as I know, the main thing that the school and city have that join together are SRO officers, and I think we work very well on that. The city covers half and the school covers half, plus the school covers some of their training and vehicle expense. Other than that, the school in Arkansas is different in some states, but in Arkansas, a city and school district are completely different because the school district is a lot larger than a city, so they're completely separate tax base and completely separate monies that come from different pots, and so we're not allowed to commingle those in any way at all. In fact, if we come rent this room, the city has to pay for it just because we can't commingle in that way.
Thank you. This one is directed at you. Please explain the state of the sidewalks right now and why we have torn up good sidewalks to build bigger ones, and why we still have so many that need built or redone.
Yes, well, Rome wasn't built in a day. When I came into office, we had a lot of sidewalks that need to be done. In fact, there hadn't been any large sidewalk project done since, I believe, 2008, when we did the one from Main Street up to 11th Street, when we were getting a lot of complaints that children were walking in the middle of Main Street from the high school. The current projects going right now are of course, part of the 1.4 mile that we talked about. Now, why some good sidewalks had to be taken up, that's part of getting that $581,000 in grants. We have to meet their rules and their regulations, and when the sidewalks were built, they weren't built. There has to be a certain grade, I believe it's ADA and a 2% around driveways and stuff. They didn't meet that, so a lot of those had to be taken out, and then they would not allow you to connect their sidewalk into a 5-foot sidewalk. It had to be 8 foot all the way for this grant. So we probably lost maybe $25,000, $30,000 in what I would say I wouldn't have replaced. But to gain $585,000 or $81,000 for the citizens of Gravette, I think that's probably a trade-off worth taking.
Thank you. This one is directed at Dale. During Mr. Maddox's term, we've had a lot of nice things built in town. For example, the Splash Park or Hiawassee Park or other things, with several grants. What are your opinions on that, and will you continue that if you are elected? Oh, I'm sorry.
So, on the Splash Park, actually everything looks great. You know, hats off to all the areas that had anything to do with that. There are a few things we all have hindsight on, right, that we would have done a little better. One of the things that I would think of is that taking after other cities around, instead of having the Splash Park tied to our pool, why wouldn't we make it free, put it downtown, similar to Bentonville, and at no cost? That way we could start getting the traffic down through downtown, and it doesn't stop there. It's not just a summertime event, and everybody could do it because it's not a cost. They also block it up, and then it becomes a ice skating park during the wintertime, so again, get traffic down there. Things look really nice, and like I said, I thank everybody for that. We could have utilized our thoughts around how we were going to put all this together had we had a master plan that we could have went with. Everybody sees the master plan. We know that we're going to start here, not just doing projects here, there, and everywhere. We'll start at one spot and we'll move all the way through with a very concurrence.
Thank you. This is directed at both of the candidates, but we will start with Maddox. What do you think of the recent updates to Main Street?
What do I think about the recent updates to Main Street?
Yes.
I think they're great. I think we had a Main Street that needed to be fixed and taken care of, and it was ran before the voters. And let me go back and say about a master plan. In the master plan that was done in 2014, it's called a policy-based master plan. And in a policy-based master plan, it's not so rigid that you don't have any room to work within. And so this plan is what we've been operating off of, and we're going to redo that plan next year, which is 5 years. But when you're in a growing city, if you make a plan that is so rigid, we were told by a former employee of Fayetteville Planning that works at Regional that says, you do not want to do that. You make a plan so strict, then you end up getting a city that's stuck itself and it cannot grow. So we did a policy-based plan instead. And as far as the splash park goes, we did a splash park, not a splash pad. And if you look, Rogers, Bentonville, they all did the same thing with their slides and their bigger pools. And they went from losing money at their swimming pools to actually being able to break even or make a little bit of money off of what they brought in. So we started with the splash park. We could always build a splash pad, which would be a lot cheaper, but we took this before all the voters, and the voters had the plans all out before them by build architects, and then they voted on that.
Thank you. Dale, what do you think of the recent updates to Main Street? What do you think of the recent updates to Main Street?
So again, hats off, thank you very much. We do know that, like I said, when you have 2020, now we can't get 2 emergency vehicles down through the same, in the opposite direction there to assist any building, any business, anybody that's on Main Street. So we know that it's very, very tight. Our parking, I see a lot of compact parking there, so that means that we've narrowed down our parking. We know that this is a community that has a lot of farming in it, so we know that there are going to be larger vehicles going up and down through there, as well as our support and emergency vehicles. I would have looked at the islands just a little bit more and maybe back those off just a little bit where we could get vehicles down through there. Thank you.
All right, and this one goes to Kurt. What process did you follow to make sure the library was safer to enter up and down and running for safety?
Well, whenever the library was redone, it was overseen by one of our employees, and they did forget to have that building inspection done. They did hire all qualified contractors, but did not have actual inspections done on the building. So what I did to ensure that it was safe when a couple of concerns came out was we actually hired a structural engineer, had the structural engineer go through the entire building and told us a couple little things. I believe there was one shim under the building that needed to be brought up, and then he recommended going ahead and adding a little more to the brick entryway, which we bricked that all the way around, made that really nice. So that's what I did.
Thank you. This one is directed at Dale. How is your position in the Centerton Water Department not considered a conflict of interest given the lawsuit between Gravette and Centerton? Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm super sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's an echo.
Am I not speaking loud enough?
Apologize to y'all.
Okay. Okay.
How is your position in the Centerton Water Department considered a conflict of interest? Not considered a conflict. I don't guess on the question it says, how is your position in the Centerton Water Department not considered a conflict of interest? I don't belong to any part of Centerton, so I'm not exactly sure where y'all like to go with that, but I can assure you that I don't have any money in Centerton or belong to anything in Centerton. I do visit with the mayor, and I do go to their coffee just to see how they conduct business. Because I'm into that part of it, I also go to the Bentonville mayor's debates and stuff like that, but I have no interest in Centerton, so I don't see where I have a conflict at all. So thank you for asking the question, but you have, if you'd like to ask me something else later on afterwards, please do. Thank you.
Thank you. This one will go right back to you in order of switching off. This one is for both candidates. What can be done to attract any major businesses to town?
So that's a great question. On that, I think that we need everybody's help, right? The entire community. But we do have to show that we have good stewardship. If I was in a larger business, what I'd be looking at is the things like we're entangled with now. We have a lawsuit going on with Centerton. To me, that's an entanglement. That's not a good stewardship of how you would have your how you have your community represented. We know that we've had some lawsuits in the city as well. We know that's not a very good thing, right? They're looking for character. They're looking for a community that can continue to grow and continue to support everybody's needs. What we need to do is show good faith on everybody's part. Thank you.
Thank you. Kurt, the same for you.
Well, as a 30-plus year business owner, what businesses want is customers. And if they don't have customers, they don't come. And how we get customers is we have people in town, we have higher traffic counts, we have a city that people want to live, and that brings the customers in that will keep a business in town. There's no good to get a business if they just go out of business. And so by bringing the people here to live, then the businesses come in order to serve those people. I believe our traffic counts have gone up about 10% a year since I've been in office, and we keep moving in the right direction. But a lot of businesses won't come till you hit a specific traffic count. I hear this all the time because I get on the phone and I actually call businesses because we're competing with every other city in the state of Arkansas, plus every city in Missouri, plus Oklahoma, plus Kansas for this same business. So when I'm talking to them, I ask the questions, where do we need to be at? Where does our city need to stand so that we can get you in here? And that's what we've been working towards for the last 4 years, is able to get more businesses in. And we've seen a lot come in, as you guys know, and you can see, including the new O'Reilly's that is getting ready to be built.
Thank you. This one is also directed at Maddox. If your platform is to place importance on safety, why cut EMS and police budgets?
Well, we're not exactly cutting the budgets, we're not increasing the budgets next year. Now, EMS probably will be pulled back on a little bit, depending on what happens with the contract that Benton County does. And what has happened over the years is we've increased our work with Benton County, and then Benton County came in and said, hey, we're going to try to save a little money, and we're going to outsource all the county areas. That will show some revenue decreases in the city. The same thing when we lost Walmart. You just go back to work. You knock on doors and you get the stuff out there. I've already got our teams working on it. This will be a short-term glitch, as Walmart was. People told me it'd take us years to get a grocery store back, and it took us just a few months. So as with anything, you always have ups and downs in any business and city. We'll get to work. We'll figure out the way to use our ambulance service in a different way if we need to, in order to make sure we have the money coming in. But the council has said they want to 100% keep ALS service in our city limits. And so as long as they feel that way, my job is to present a budget that will give them what they ask for.
Thank you. And this is our last question. It is directed at Dale. Will you place emphasis on public safety? Will you place emphasis on public safety?
So obviously the answer to that's yes. I mean, what we'll do is, what we've seen anyway from the past was 11, 12, 13, probably some of our strongest years. We had more police officers on the ground than what the national average is, and now our 4,000, we're reaching 4,000, 4,200 folks. That ratio is still tainted some, but still good. My position on that is to continue not only educating, but working with our police and our EMS teams, and that's how we become a safe spot here in Gravette, Arkansas.
All right. Seeing as that is the end of section 3, I would love to thank you all for coming out. It has been such a pleasure to work with my teachers and the principal and put this event together for you guys. If you guys would like, there is going to be a meet and greet that will last until 8:15 or until people trickle out before, not after. We're cutting it off 8:15. If you would like to speak with the candidates, ask further questions, or have any clarifications, again, thank you all for coming. I would like to specifically thank my wonderful WIDAR sponsor, Miss Morgan. I would love to thank Miss Mitchell and my lovely volunteers in the back that came, not because they were part of it or because they were here for NHS, but because this was my event. Michael Wallace, Billy Cook, Zach Duncan, and Andra Atterbury. This means the world to me. Thank you so much. Sorry, I forgot to thank one last person. The person who gave me these speaking skills, Jackie Reef, she's in the back. She did a great job.